Why is it that icebergs and romance movies mix so well? I don't know. When you think of iceberg and romance movie, you most likely automatically think of Titanic. Well, tonight's movie is a little bit of a pre-Titanic movie. It's called History is Made at Night. It stars Charles Boyer, Jean Arthur, an Italian man named Leo Carillo, and he was fantastic, so funny, hilarious. And Colin Clive, who is mostly known for his role as Dr. Frankenstein in the two Frankenstein movies that came out. And this is the only other movie that I've seen Colin Clive in, and he did an excellent job. I think he's a really great actor. And Charles Boyer, of course, I reviewed him in Algiers, and that movie got a 4 out of 4 stars. And actually, tonight's movie is so great, I'm going to give it 4 out of 4 stars as well. Now that means that Charles Boyer is 2 for 2 so far, and he is actually one of my favorite actors of all time. So tonight's movie, it's a romance movie, as I said, and it starts out in Paris. This woman, she is getting a divorce from a very rich man, Colin Clive, who owns a cruise ship business, and he's very, very wealthy. So she's getting a divorce, but he is an abusive husband. He won't take no for an answer. He won't let her have happiness and get away from him. So she's trying all she can do to get away, but he believes that there is another man, and he doesn't want her to get a divorce and get all his money, because so he's trying to prove, okay, she's with another man, and if we're not going to catch her doing it, I'm going to frame her with another man. Well, while this she's trying to frame her with another man, Charles Boyer, he walks out on a balcony, and he says, okay, I'm going to help this innocent girl, she's in trouble. So he comes in the room through the balcony, and he stages a robbery and a kidnapping. And the reason he does this is because he knows that she's in some type of trouble where she's trying to be framed with another man. So he doesn't want it to look like, oh, okay, well, maybe Charles Boyer is her lover, when really they had never met before. So he kidnaps her. She's a little scared, but of course he's very innocent. His actual job is he's a head waiter at supposedly one of the best restaurants in France. Leo Carillo is the chef at this restaurant, and Leo Carillo, he is just so funny as the over emotional Italian chef. Note all the scenes where he just gets so angry about this American woman that Charles Boyer, his best friend, is falling in love with. So anyways, Boyer takes her to the restaurant. They have a romantic night of champagne and dancing, and they fall in love basically. Well, something happens to where Charles Boyer is getting, I don't want to give too much away, he's getting framed for the murder of a man. And she is just freaking out, Jean Arthur. So she basically, and the mastermind behind all of this is her husband, Colin Clive. And so she agrees to go be with Colin Clive again and go back to the US. And so Charles Boyer is just brokenhearted. He doesn't understand why she's doing this. And he knows something's up. He knows something is going on between she and Colin Clive, her husband, that she's trying to divorce because he realizes that he's abusive. So he calls and he learns, okay, she's going back to the US, and he is so in love with her that he's going to follow her back to the US. And Leo Carillo actually is a great friend. He says, all right, my friend, I'll go back, I'll go with you. Where you go, I go, basically. And so they go on this adventure to the US to find her and to win her back over and to see, why did you leave me? And I don't want to give the complete story away. I've already given quite a bit away, but I really want to touch on um, the amazing. There's an iceberg scene because a lot of the movie takes place on these cruise liners, and in the iceberg scene, of course, the ship hits an iceberg, and it's just it's so scary, and the special effects are amazing for its day. And out of nowhere, you know, Charles Boyer, he's going back to France because he wants to clear his name back in France for this murder. So you're so worried for him. You don't want him to be convicted. And so Boyer and Jean Arthur, they're talking about the trial and how they're worried for him. And then out of nowhere, they hit this iceberg. And so it's like your worry, even the viewer's worry, turns from his trial in France immediately to this iceberg and whether or not they're going to live or die. And I thought that was a real interesting feeling, emotion that you get from watching this movie, is that, and this is true for life too, is you can be doing one thing and worrying about something in your life, and then out of nowhere, a tragedy can happen and your life can change in an instant. Who knows, like maybe you'll be worrying about something while driving in your car and bam, you get in a car accident and just something crazier happens. And that's really an emotion I got watching this movie. So, of course, this iceberg scene was just fantastic, and when it's a little bit like Titanic where they are putting the women and the children in the lifeboats, so the men have to stay back behind. And you can really see the emotion in Boyer's face when he's crying for her, please get on the lifeboat, go, go, go live. And it's a lot like Titanic, but I mean, this movie was before Titanic, so I should say Titanic is like this. Um, but she doesn't want to leave without him, and it's just a real emotional scene. All of this movie is just really fun to watch. It's really an adventure, a romantic adventure. You start out in Paris, then you're in New York, and then you're on the sea, and it's truly a gem. That's why I gave it 4 out of 4 stars. There are literally no flaws in this movie. The soundtrack is beautiful, and Jean Arthur and Charles Boyer's chemistry is just truly something special. I highly recommend you watch this movie. Even if you don't care too much for romance films, I think you would like it just because of the incredible iceberg scene. It's just an adventure, and there are a lot of laughs, especially with Leo Carillo's character, and just his chemistry with Boyer is hilarious, and you truly get the feeling that they're best friends. So, and a fun note, or not a fun note, but an interesting note about this movie, or fun fact I should say, is they do mention the Hindenburg in this movie, and at the time the film was made and came out, the Hindenburg still existed, and 2 months later the Hindenburg disaster took place. So that's just a little fun fact. I highly recommend you watch it. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did, and I'm not sure, I wasn't able to come out with a horror film review last weekend. I got a little bit busy, but please let me know if you still like that idea. Halloween's coming up, so I'm gonna definitely do a lot of horror film reviews then. But until next time, I am gonna come out with another review this week, so keep your eyes open for that. But good night, guys.